Hello everyone, I'm Laura Sunshine, and this is a special, very special edition of Spiritual Clarity with Laura Sunshine. This is a new little series called My Book of Shadows, and you can too. Vader's here with me, my little co-host right there sleeping. He's a cat. Um, what we're going to be talking about today, today's lesson from the Book of Shadows, is going to be really brief. This is writing your own creed, or some people call it your read, and the elements. So let's go ahead and get started. This is my Book of Shadows. I choose to use a binder with page protectors. Got well over 200 pages in here, and they are super easy to flip through. So I chose a binder because I like to be really organized, and I really like binders and stationery. So this is my cover. It says Laura's Book of Shadows, very self-explanatory, and a little backwards, like the mirrors going on here. Anyway, I made this with copy paper, and I drank tons of tea, so I had tea bags. So I made some tea, used the tea bags, and I did this. I used tea bag all over it, and then I let it sit overnight to get in the next day to get it nice and dark. And then I used a lighter and I burned it to make it look old. It's something I learned in elementary school that I kept with me. I'm not a very visually artistic person, just musically and other ways, I guess. Speaking is also not a talent of mine. So that was my dryer. Alright, so let's get started. This first page here, let's see, it's a really heavy book, so Laura's Creed. Now, before I move into this, I am actually and have been taking a course from my mentor. Her name is Flora Sage, or Flora Peterson, just however you know her. And a lot of these I took from some lessons from that Year in a Day course. And the first one I put in my Book of Shadows was my creed. Now, a lot of people, they use a standard creed that they find on the internet. I chose not to do that. I did at first. This is actually my second Book of Shadows. I actually scrapped my first one. And your creed and how you write that is very personal. I do upload my files to a private Facebook group that I have for others in the area, and this is the one that I don't let anybody use. I have it up there as an example. So this creed, it's basically what you believe in, and you write that down, articulate it. So the first line of mine is, I believe in the gods and the goddesses. I am polytheistic. I do follow the Egyptian deities. So in here, you just state what you believe. Mine says, I believe in the gods and goddesses. Through me and my spiritual tribe, anything is possible. I believe my words and thoughts have power. I will use my thoughts and words for the good. All my intentions manifest. I believe all will come back threefold. Harm none and do as ye will. Those last two lines are pretty standard. Not everybody does believe in the threefold law. I don't know really if I truly do. I do believe in karma though, so I decided to put that in instead of just saying I believe in karma. Write your creed. It can be as long or as short as you want it to be, but what matters is that it comes from your heart. It comes from your soul, and this is your beliefs, and just make sure it really resonates with you. You can share it with others. You don't have to. It's just what you believe. Don't rush the process, and over time you may add to it, and there are other times you may take things away from it. It's up to you. It's very personal, and I recommend having it be the first page in your Book of Shadows. Every time I open it up, I read the creed, and I think that's really important. And a lot of people like to open their rituals and spells with this creed as well before they open their circle or close their circle. Do the circle casting. Some people say it after the circle casting, some say it before and after or during, just whatever resonates with you. Now we are going to move on to the elements and directions. Like I said, I'm like really organized here. So, a lot of spells out there that I've come across and a lot of websites, they have the elements and the directions fixed. For mine, I have north is air, south is fire, east is water, and west is earth. And the fifth element, spirit, I have it as all around us. It can be in all the elements. It's just everywhere. I also learned, this portion as well early on in the Year in a Day course that I'm taking. We actually spent 1 week or one lesson per element and per direction. And what we had to do was we sat there. If I was trying to figure out earth, I could go outside, sit down, barefoot, do some earthing, and just sit with the earth and say, okay, what direction is this? What is the speed of this? For me, the directions and the elements, they kind of corresponded to a map of the United States for me. When I think of the north, I think of that cool Arctic air coming in, in those fronts. For the south, I do live in Oklahoma, so we have really, bad summers, and they're usually over 100 degrees every day. But I always think of like the equator, Texas, the desert, the Southwest. This entire area, we're hot. There's a lot of desert and arid areas. So for me, it just felt hot like fire. And then for east, if I look at a map, and I've been to the East Coast a few times over in the Florida area, and it felt like an ocean to me. Where sometimes people call it the big pond, when we're referring to going to Europe, you go across the big pond. So for me, I thought of the Atlantic Ocean, all that water over there, and that's why I kind of associated the east with water. Now, the other one is, my last one is the West. And when I think of the West, I think of like California, and they have a lot of earthquakes over there. So for me, West always just felt like Earth. And, we're divided over there by the Rocky Mountains, and, there's a lot of mountains over there like the Cascades, Sierra Nevada, the earthquakes. So for me, it just made sense that the West was the element of earth. Now, the element of spirit, the fifth one, that's us. We're spirit. We can be anywhere. We can take on any of those elements. We use all those elements all the time. And there's also the spiritual plane. As a medium, I do, channel spirits for clients. And I do work as a psychic medium as well. So for me, spirit's limitless. It doesn't know time, it doesn't know space, it doesn't know distance. It just is. Spirit just is there. So for me, it's everywhere. Some people do use the element of spirit as simply or exclusively as themselves. So, that's how that goes. It just depends on what you believe. Some people do not even use the element of spirit. That's up to you. And other stuff that I have learned is assigning a gender for each element. For earth, it felt more, or for air, it felt more feminine to me. The same with, water, that is feminine. Fire is feminine. Earth, I also have as feminine. And then spirit, it's genderless for me. It has no gender, it just is. But I do believe with the elements, though, that they can really change their gender, that they can change their speed. Earth spells, the element of earth is typically slow. Some people have it as medium or fast. When you do a spell and you want to call in the elements, call in the element that is relevant to the spell or ritual, and also take into account the speed. For me, fire is the fastest element. So that's a lot of spells or rituals that have you burning things and releasing the ashes into the air. For me, that I use that whenever I need something to happen quickly. And then earth is seen as really slow, so you can use earth, or the way I do it is use it for spells or rituals that you're not in a huge rush, that they're kind of a gradual thing. And then air and water I have as both medium spell speeds, but also I also have them as they can change their speed, because sometimes when you go outside and you want to feel the air, it's really not moving. It's kind of standing still. There's no breeze. But then there are take into account tornadoes. I live in Oklahoma. It's Tornado Alley. My mom's house was actually destroyed by a tornado in 2016 here in Claremore. And the same with water. I mean, you can go out to a pond outside and it's really not moving unless the air is out and there's a breeze. But then, there's rushing rivers. I mean, so for me, those two elements can really change. So, I would encourage you to just sit and think about each element, go experience each element, and then decide, what gender is it? What's the speed of it? Is it standing still? Does it move? Is it masculine? Is it feminine? Just really think about all of that and give it some thought, give it some experience, and then put it into your Book of Shadows. And it's okay if you have a rough time at first, really envisioning and experiencing these elements and figuring out the speed and gender. Don't give up. Just keep trying, and it may change for you later on. You may have, for example, air as a very slow moving element, and then one day it's air seems a lot quicker now. I need to change that. And it also just kind of depends on the day. It may be a day-to-day thing for you. Well, I hope you learned something. Next time I will come back with, we're going to keep going through here, and looks like we'll be doing the colors of magic. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope this helped you out a little bit. Thank you.